Race fans, good evening and a very warm Elite Racing Network welcome to the second and final road course event of the 2026A Infinity Graphic Designs Dev Series season. Tonight we come to you from the beautiful Pacific Northwest region of the country with the fast, technical Portland International Raceway, a 1.97 mile road course known for its long front straight and sweeping layout that rewards both patience and precision. This historic circuit has been a staple of American road racing since 1961. Carved out of what was once a public housing project destroyed by a flood in 1948, over the decades it has hosted everything from sports cars to open wheel racing to NASCAR. And tonight, of course, lead ARCA takes to this track. I'm Cameron Rich here with Ty McIntosh in the booth and Chris Wright bringing you the camera shots as always. Last week in Las Vegas, Corey Abbott captured his first checkered flag of the season, and with that victory, he comes into tonight's race leading the championship standings. But as we saw a little more than 2 months ago, in Detroit, road courses have a way of shaking up the order, and we could very well see some new faces at the front of the grid tonight. Caleb Kumer, the winner of that event, has struggled over the past 6 weeks, and what was once a stranglehold on the championship has slowly slipped away. However, if there's anyone there, or if there's anywhere he can turn things around, road courses are definitely his bread and butter. Another driver to keep an eye on tonight is Noah Brown. After getting caught up in the very first accident in last week's race, he enters tonight with a significant points deficit. But Brown is no stranger to the twisty turns of a road course, and he could very well be one to watch as this race unfolds. So, fun little track here tonight, Ty. I believe that you want to take us for a lap around it once we get going green here, but you were doing some laps later, earlier. How did you feel about this place?
I mean, I think it's going to be a fun race for these guys. It's going to be a handful. I think we always expect that when we see a track like Portland on the schedule. Under braking, the car's going to be a little bit moody. It might step out on them if they get through the gears a little too quickly. Not a whole lot of first gear, I don't think. I think these guys are going to mainly want to be in second for the comfortability of the gearing and maybe not get as much wheel spin. I would expect a lot of the heavy passing zones to be into one, potentially, if these guys are feeling frisky. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot down the back straightaway. That chicane in the back portion that then leads to the wide right-hander that's going to get us back to the front straightaway. Maybe they can set up a pass there, but other than that, I think most of your passing is going to be in the middle section of the racetrack. So these guys are going to be all over it tonight. They're going to be a little bit loose, but I think it's going to be a fun time for us and a blast for them to drive. So this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the few completely flat road courses in the country here in Portland. That definitely adds to the challenge and adds to what these drivers are going to be facing tonight. No banking or off-camber corners or elevation changes to speak of to kind of save you from some unfortunate circumstances here. I believe we're on board here with, this is Harrison Italian coming out of the last corner. I believe that he actually did not get his first lap counted by iRacing, so we'll see if he can get that one to do so. Sure enough, he does, and he goes P16 on the grid, so about 2/10 slower than his fastest lap in practice. And speaking of practice, Caleb Kumer, your current pole sitter, he was fastest in practice and following up about 0.2 of a second on Cale Pocock, who we saw pretty quick at the last road course race in Detroit. He finished third at that event, so look for that 66. Presumably it's the Greg Biffle throwback. I believe he has not changed that all season. Look for that one to be fast tonight. And a couple of the sports car drivers in the elite, Caleb Kumer, Austin and Abnett, all looking pretty stout out here tonight as we have about 2 minutes left in qualifying. Here's your track layout. You can see there that hard braking zone chicane in turn one. That's called the Festival Curves. And then you get to a twisty section, the long sweeping backstretch, and then one final little chicane kink thing to bring you back on to the front stretch here. So 77 degrees outside air temperature, 42% humidity, clear skies, and 7-mile-an-hour winds. So a pretty good day to go racing here. If this was real life, I would absolutely love that. The track temperature is 107, so it's going to be pretty slick here, especially after we get a couple laps on the tires. I believe 3 tire changes in the pits tonight. But that should not be a problem. Our race is going to be 60 minutes. It's a timed event. No laps are going to be. So basically, after 60 minutes, we will throw the white flag, and then the next flag will end the race. So kind of like a sports car in that regard. I'm not sure how many laps that will actually get us here, but I'm thinking about maybe in the high 30s or low 40s range with pit stops and such. So definitely, I don't see anyone else really on track doing anything. Jimmy Hayden, big news for him. He is one of your chasers tonight, and he is actually going to be starting, looks like P26. Did not get a counted lap in qualifying, probably ran off the road or something like that on both laps. And on the iRacing service, that will disqualify your lap. So he will have a monumental hill to climb to be able to get himself back up to the front of the field. Dylan Javier as well, one of our sports car drivers that has been pretty quick on the road courses in all Elite Series. He's also going to have that same mountain to climb. So definitely some of the drivers here starting off on the back foot with 10 seconds to go in qualifying. It's safe to say that Caleb Kumer will be your pole sitter. And we will have your grid in just a moment here. 27 cars out here for tonight's running of this race, and that's a pretty good little field for such a relatively small road course here. Get that pulled up for you shortly here. There you go. Caleb Kumer, he is your pole sitter next to Cale Pocock. Austin and Abbott, he starts in third. Gavin Higgins starts fourth. Nigel Stock, we've talked about him over the last few weeks, making slow and steady progress each and every race. He starts in a fantastic position number 5 for the Englishman. Corey Abbott, last week's winner, starts in 6th. 7th is Ryan Borges. 8th, Bryce Fody. 9th, Pierce Hausler. He will be receiving an EOL to start tonight's event, so he will not start there, but that is where he qualified, and that is where his pit stall will be, the 9th one on the pit road there. Jaden Racimus, he starts in position number 10. Noah Brown, talked about him. Probably not the qualifying run he wanted, but he will start in 11th. Look for that 65 Redux Racing car to be sporty tonight. David Westergreen, I would say the biggest lover of road courses I've ever met on iRacing. That's completely sarcastic. He starts 12th, Frank Fody 13th, and then James Watson in 14th. Take it away, Ty.
Dustin Dewar in that number 32 is going to line up 15th with Harrison Talon to his outside and the number 8 machine. Mitch Xavier 17th, Andrew Hardcastle 18th, Dave Huckleberry 19th, Dave Carpenter 20, couple of Daves on that row. Samuel Malone and Jacob Adams make up row 21st, 22nd with Mark Rebelos and Sam Boutwell 23rd and 24th. 25th, Kurt Gibson. 26th, Jimmy Hayden. And 27th, Dylan Javier. We talked about their struggles. And Cam, just a reminder to the last, road course race we had here in this series. We talked about Belle Isle earlier. Caleb Kumer was the guy to beat. But the amount of chaos that we saw in that race, this is a very similar racetrack. It's not something that these guys usually run. Belle Isle, obviously, a little bit further in that aspect. But I cannot say that we could count out somebody like Jimmy Hayden coming from the back after everything that we saw in Belle Isle. And the amount of calamity we saw in those guys fighting through all that. So,
yeah, not at all. And you see right there to the left of Caleb Kumer and this outside, we'll call that the right side row, left side on screen. There's a wall there. So that's not typically something you see at a lot of road courses. The walls tend to be set farther back from the racetrack for safety reasons. But this is a racetrack that was built in 1961. It has been largely unchanged since then. And those walls are ever so close. And even down here on the front stretch, you see big wall there right on the right side of the screen as we get there, which does not give itself a lot of room for drivers to get around chaos. Pace truck is off. Caleb Kumer is your control car on the left side of the screen. And there we go. We are underway here at the Portland International Race. Good start for both cars and Caleb Kumer. It'll be we'll see what happens here in turn number 1. It's always a disaster class, whatever happens here in real life as well. IndyCar but I think here in Elite we have actually done it pretty cleanly here. I don't see any major issues for anyone. No one has actually spun out. So through the turns 2, 3, and 4 section on the racetrack, looking a little bit further on back, Dave Huckleberry having a bit of a connection issue there next to Pierce Hausler. Here is Andrew Hardcastle, but already about a second lead for Kumer over Ed Nabnett, his teammate in that 60 car. And lots of further race him on back. Noah Brown's already made up a couple spots there, 65. Not going to be able to do it this lap, but any progress is good progress.
And talk about that huge lead that Caleb Kumer's kind of already assumed. It's half a second now. It was a lot more headed on the back straightaway, but I think a lot of that is the advantage that he has as far as getting to that curb and kind of being able to just take that little bit of a lead. It cleared him up for turn 1. It led all the way through turn 2 with Austin Abbott and Cale Pocock kind of having to be side by side to give each other room there. You see James Watson, James Rosimas. They are fighting for, I believe, that is just outside the top 10, probably closer to the top 15. And turn 1 being one of those tricky ones, I think, let's just see Frank Fody go through right there. That wall on the right side, you can cut it, you can take a little bit of it, but if you get too close, Frank Fody missed it. You have to put that time back. But definitely a passing zone if you're feeling frisky enough, but not something that I can see that a lot of these guys are probably eyeballing right now.
No, but if your name is Jesse Awuji, we know that he has a way of plowing right in the back of a car. If your name is Ty Gibbs, we saw that about, 3 years ago in the Xfinity Series at the time of this racetrack. Wild times that definitely was. But I think Ty Gibbs actually probably finished second in that race. But big pack here a little bit further on back. This looks like to be Jacob Adams back to about Dave Harper's. That would be 15th, 19th. And there's Jimmy Hayden as well leading back to try to get himself up. Dylan Javier and Jimmy Hayden, both drivers that had to start at the back of the field tonight and trying to make some inroads. As we start another lap here, why don't we go on board with Caleb Kumer? And Ty, go ahead and take us through a lap of this Portland International Raceway.
So we talked about turn 1. You see Caleb's going to get real tight to that inside wall. He's going to cut a little bit of that curb on turn 2, but not too much. Out here, you're going to kind of avoid most of that exit curb. It's going to unsettle the car as we go into turn number 3. 3, 4, and 5 kind of all flow together here. So you kind of want to not go all the way out, but you want to stay just tight enough to that curb where you can kind of set yourself up for the exit curb there. Nice and tight here. You're going to feel like you can maybe throttle up here, but you're going to want to keep it nice and tight as we head towards turn 8. Nice and tight here. Don't want to run off too much through 9. 10 here. This is going to be a nice little slow speed. This is one of the corners where I think these guys could really kick it into first, but I don't think they're going to. Nice little exit here, all the way down the back straightaway. Want to be easy on the power through here. The rear end will step out. Caleb's going to go all the way down this back straightaway. Now, this is probably my favorite part of the racetrack. Nice, heavy braking zone. Flick it to the left, back to the right. There's the left, here's the right. Use as much of this runoff as you can to get your car angled in for this corner, nice and slow. And then you're going to power off of the last corner down the front straightaway, use all of that runoff possible. And that is a lap around the Portland International Raceway.
And with that, Caleb Kumer cements his lead to about 1.2 seconds here. We have a replay with Mark Rabillas. He did something here on the back half of the track. He took the flick a little bit too much and flicked it a little bit too much there. So just a little half spin there for Mark. No problem. He's going to get it back going. And something here with David Westergreen as well. I think he did the same thing as Mark. He sure did. And no harm, no foul. Just a little half spin. Ego bruised, tires bruised a little bit, but no damage to either of those cars. We have another one. Dustin Dewar going mowing the grass there through the last corner, and that is a bad place too, Greg, because when you're coming through that corner, you need that exit, you need that left side exit runoff to be able to actually get the good run out on the front stretch here. So if there's a car there that's sitting there and you can't see it, that could be a huge accident. Thankfully, Dustin able to get it going without too much problem there. As Caleb Kumer scoots away his lead up to about 1.5 seconds over his teammate Austin Abbott. Same battle we were talking about just a few laps ago. From circa, we'll talk about, we do 15th, 14th on back or so. Still going at it. All these drivers are close to be able to do something with each other. And, well, Dustin Dewar off the track again. He is, track promoter is not going to be very happy with destroying his grass, but he loses 1, 2, 3 more spots. Get it going right in front of him and not move that.
Looking at something that we need to talk about, Jimmy Hayden started 26th. He's up to 13th. Guy behind him started 27th. He's up to 14th. So Dylan Javier and Jimmy Hayden, which it looks like Dylan might have had a little bit of an off there. I see. Oh, maybe not. I don't know. Was it Dylan? No, Jimmy made a pass. I'm sorry. I'm blind. So Jimmy made a pass. So he's now up to 12 as we get a look at Kurt Gibson in turn 1. This looks like, yeah, just broke loose under braking and kicked out on him there, which something that I experienced a lot when I was running laps earlier. Just the rear end of the car gets a little heavy. I know they also did something to the update today that I think tightened it up a little bit, but it's still free on this road course. But nonetheless, Dylan Javier and Jimmy Hayden working through the field. You see Frank Fody and Noah Brown side by side for the 7th spot. Frank's going to get a little too much of the runoff there, and that's going to give it to Noah down the front straightaway.
Yeah, and interesting note about the update. We took the rear anti-roll bar away from these cars. So the fun thing about that is we wouldn't actually be using it at the road courses anyway. We won't really know how that does to these cars until next week. There is Jacob Adams having a bit of a excursion there on the back half of the racetrack. That is the second to last corner, and he was ahead of this group, so I'm going to make a small assumption here that he lost it under braking. He sure did, and there was no contact. He just
I think there was maybe a little
contact. I'll have to look at that again.
A little bit of a run in there from David Westergreen. We'll have to maybe get a look on board with the number 9. Oh yeah, yeah.
I think I might be the blind one here because they're.
No, you're good.
That definitely was a clunk and a half there from behind, and around Jacob Adams goes.
Big work for Elmo, man. You know, it's okay. You mess up a little bit. It's all good. I'm not sure Jacob Adams is not saying it's all good. I'm sure he's very upset with driver number 9, but as we look at the lead, Caleb Kumer has now stretched out to just about 2 seconds over his teammate, Austin and Abnett. Cale Pocock in 3rd, probably about half a second behind Austin, I would say, maybe about a second. And then you kind of see everybody else, Gavin Higgins, Ryan Borges, Corey Abbott, Brown, Frank Fody. Nigel Stock, shout out to him. I know this is probably more of his speed. We talked about him a lot all season, how he wasn't really an oval guy, obviously, in English, and kind of getting his, his wits about him here, but he's showing that he's pretty good on the road course. He qualified 5th. He's running 9th right now. I'm sure a lot of this is maybe just trying to keep the car under him, but a pretty good run so far for Nigel Stock.
Absolutely, and he's been very open to receiving criticism and receiving tips and tricks from everybody else, and has made good use of them. So definitely looking to become the 3rd Englishman who's had some success here in second. William White and Daniel Gore also being English, having their own versions of success here, and doing well for themselves. But here with, I believe it's Jim Hayden. Yes, it is. He's behind James Watson in a 12th place currently. Yeah, him and Dylan Javier are picking him up and putting him down pretty quickly, up to, that's up 15 spots or so in 8 laps here. So that is more than 1 car per lap.
Oh, Nigel Stock! We just commentators cursed him. He just spun out right there off the last corner.
Yep, he sure did, and call that too much beans, and sure enough, unfortunately, into the wall a little bit. Not a terrible amount of damage, but that probably is going to somehow affect the handling of the race car, with how sensitive these ARCA cars tend to be. And he looks like he has moved back to about the 14th position as of the last scoring loop that I see. So right there behind Dylan Javier, and that's one more spot for Jimmy Hayden, who we were on board with. So that should move him up to the... No, that was actually... So he's not in the top 10 just yet, but about to be.
No, he got around James Watson, so that's going to put him in 10th there. I think he made the pass on 2 or 3 there, so should have sneaked by there.
Did.
Just in front of him, a little bit of a family motive up there in the top 10. Frank Fody, Bryce Fody, 8th and 9th. Looking throughout the rest of the field, I mean, Caleb Kumer's kind of just doing what we saw at Belle Isle right now. He's pulling a gap. Austin Abnett, who didn't really have the greatest luck at Belle Isle, I believe. I know he was in quite a few incidents there. Not really his doing. Just there was a lot of chaos at Belle Isle, I will say. I think that was a lot more chaotic track. This is a little bit more wide open for these guys. You see Jimmy Hayden look through 1 and 2. Getting ever so closer to the back bumper of Bryce Fody, Harrison Talon, David Westergreen, Mitch Javier, and I believe that is Dustin Dewar. In that group there, he's in his house, or he had his EOL to start the race. He's back up to 15th after qualifying 9th.
28 of Mitch Javier there, a little bit sideways out of the chicane, and but he was able to get that under control, but he does lose the spot to Dustin Dewar. Stock, the commentator's curse just a minute ago. Getting himself back on the way. Jade Racimas in the one car. He's currently in the 12th position with Dylan Javier close in chase. And Jaden's had a pretty calm race. He started in 10th, now back to 12th, so a couple spots down, but has not spun the car off the racetrack yet, and that is always a great thing in here. Another problem for David Westergreen. He is all sorts of sideways, and then more sideways there. Another half spin for the number 9 car. Not having a great night, and I have a few instances I've had with D West. Oh, here's Javier on Racimas. He's going to make the move into turn number 1. Cut and dry move right there. And a few instances I've had with D West, we said in the little tongue-in-cheek comment about him being the most excited road course racer I've ever known. He's actually not the most excited road course racer. I think he's the person who I think hates them more than anyone I've ever met on the service. So probably not having a whole lot of fun here tonight. I think Dustin Dewar not having fun with that.
Same. Oh no. Well, I mean, we saw Mitch have that problem before on the previous lap, but I don't think that was Mitch's fault. I think that might have been a little reactionary to not expecting Dustin to be there. You see Kurt Gibson now off as well.
And he's got the leader of the race coming, lapping right there.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more reactionary there for Mitch, I would say. Just a little situation. He had a little bit of a struggle there the lap before, but not too bad. As Jamie Hayden now looks to the inside of Bryce Fody. Bryce going to try to find a little look like Jimmy was trying to be hesitant to turn in. He's going to make that pass. That might open the door for James Watson. Frank Fody's pulled a little bit away. Yep, here comes James. Looking to the right side of Bryce. This is a pretty decent passing zone, I'd have to say, for these guys. Set them up out of 1. Bryce going to run a little wide. That's going to kind of give it to James, actually. Bryce might have something to say here if James were to run wide, but James is going to hold it nice and tight there to the inside. And easy money for James to get that move done.
That was a close move into turn number 1. James, that was turn number 3. James was in there. Odie looked like he didn't see him there for a second. Almost came right down the racetrack, and it would have resulted in a pretty embarrassing spin for the 80 car of Bryce Cody, but he was able to make the move without any too much hassle there. Further on and back, all the way back to Jaden Racimas, who currently runs 13th. So this is your 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th place cars right here. Not just talk a little bit further on back. He's 14th, the blue car that very right there, just going through turns 1 and 2.
Oh no.
Hopefully not another issue for David Westergreen. This one actually might be for Dustin Dewar. Yes, he does the same thing he did just there in like lap 2 or so, and destroys the race motor's grass and back on the racetrack. Looks like it's pretty easy to do that, Ty. I'm not sure if you got that kind of vibe when you were doing laps a little bit earlier, but it's like if you just get that wrong a little bit, you will just go flying off in the grass.
Yeah, I think I can't say I experienced it too much, and I think a lot of it too is like some of these guys have never ran Portland before. I ran the trucks here and actually ended up getting a podium. Oh, just in front of Jimmy Hayden. Frank's going to get a little loose. He's going to run off there. So I think a lot of this could be unfamiliarity with this place for these guys. I know when we ran the trucks here, when I was getting my wits about me and trying to feel this place out because I never ran it before, obviously, it was a little bit messy for me at first. I won't lie to you. I think a lot of it, though, is once you get to learn the braking points and stuff, you're kind of figuring out what's going to make the car uncomfortable, comfortable. And some of it is just, it's the feel, and especially on an update day, I feel like, obviously there's not much we can really do about that. I think it's just these guys kind of know that the challenge is going to be there a little bit more, especially with something as pivotal as I think they took the rear roll bar out of the back, or there was something that was taken out of the back of these ARCA cars that makes it handle a little differently. So definitely not the typical run-of-the-mill for these guys tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a good point to make, though. It can't really be overstated how much learning a new track, it's not really just a process of hopping in the race session and just kind of taking the allotted practice and getting it right. That's something that's more going to be, you can spend days and days up to a week of actually learning a new track and getting your braking markers, getting your throttle up points. All that needs to be fun to be able to get the most out of these race cars, and especially these stock cars, which are big, heavy. They don't drive right there. I believe that is that the 46? There's Sam Malone there having some issues on the front half of the racetrack. It's going again. No harm, no foul, no damage to the machine, and some tire and ego damage for him. But something else here.
Oh no!
Not again.
Too much curb, wide. We're wide still. We're okay though. We're good. We're still good. We're going camping, and we pitched a tent, but we're good. No damage. So that's what matters.
Good. So D West paid $14.95 for this track, and he's going to use all $14.95 of it. That's all right. He is down back in the 20th position. Not having the night that he wanted to, but also probably having the night he expects from himself at a road course. Just does not love experiences. Has the exact same opinion as I do. I actually love road course racing, and I think road course racing with stock cars is some of the best fun you can have on the service if you kind of know what you're doing, and kind of enjoy it and know how to do it. Definitely, I can see how if you're not kind of that breed of racer, you probably wouldn't have fun with this. So probably how I feel about dirt is how he feels about road courses.
Let's see. I believe
It's
Hardcastle. Dylan Javier, I believe, off in front of him. Yeah, just a little excursion. I think a lot of these guys, man, they're just trying to make sure that the lawn looks good. Dusty, a little bit of the same. And he didn't like the... Yeah, no, I mean, I completely see the line that they missed. Dusty just went and took care of it for him, that's all. But to speak on the road course racing and David Westergreen, being a teammate with him in other places, he's somebody that, if he'll learn, right? And he'll put the laps in, but it's still just not his favorite thing. I think one of his best road course runs, he still ended up killing somebody on accident. So, yeah, no, it's a lot of learning tonight. See Dylan Javier back up to 10th. James Watson putting pressure on Jimmy Payton. Frank Fody has now fallen to 11th and 12th. Those two have kind of stayed together, Bryce and Frank. They've kind of just slipped down together, but,
We have a battle for second room. Austin and Abbott and Cale Pocock are right on the rear bumper of Nabnet's car, trying to find his way around. And not the easiest place to pass. There are a couple of really good passing zones, but once you get to this part of the racetrack, it's kind of follow the leader here. And we have another play. That's Sam Malone again. Into turn 3 this time, and just a little out there. Locked the brakes up somehow and out in the grass, but not too bad. That's not going to hurt too much there. Nabnet gets away from the 66 of Pocock just a little bit on the back half of the racetrack here.
see Austin using a lot of that runoff curve to get himself started. This is just a gap that Caleb Keyring has built over his teammate. A lot of the opportunity I think that these guys might be looking for is down the front straightaway, just to even put some pressure on the guy in front and then set him up in 1 and 2. I feel like that's kind of been the way that people have done a lot of the passes, especially these guys towards the front. When Jimmy made that move on Bryce, and him being set up to make it 3, 4, and 5, I think this is probably the easier part of the racetrack to pass, and I think that might be why we saw Austin pull away from Cale just a little bit there. There's not a whole lot that the car behind can do to keep the pressure on through that middle to back half of the racetrack.
Yeah, while these two are going at it, we have a battle for third as well. Excuse me, that would be, yeah, that would be for, I'm all over the place. I don't know where I'm actually at. It would be for 4th, excuse me. Gavin Higgins and Ryan Borges going at it. Borges has caught the rear end of that number 20 of Higgins. And Gavin Higgins, not someone we know as a road course racer. A short track driver, but doing a very good job out here tonight, running in the top 5 in this event. And have to pull out all of the tricks he has out of his book to keep that 42 behind, because Ryan is very quick.
Ryan also, where did he start? I believe he was inside the top 10. He was 7th, so he's up a couple spots. Somebody that we've seen have a lot of good runs lately. He had that photo finish with Caleb Kumer at Rockingham to end the regular season, and he had a pretty decent run at Vegas as well. I think he finished 2nd. So a good run of momentum here carried into this race for him. You see Jimmy Hayden, James Watson, Dylan Revere, and Fodes kind of just outside the top 10, all the way up to Jimmy Hayden in 8th. So a long chain of cars there. Jimmy's actually going to miss one just a little bit. It's going to allow James to put a little bit of pressure on him, but nothing.
I thought that was going to be a perfect opportunity for James to make the move, but not able to do so at the moment. All these 4, 5 cars, these cars have not been able to get away from each other all race. They've kind of been in a little bit of a wad. And Jimmy Hayden, with his immaculate progress he made at the start of the race, has not been able to get away from that number 39 of Watson here. And we have another problem for someone. I see Western Green on the screen, but not him this time. It's going to be for Hardcastle. A small excursion to the grass there. That's not going to be any problem. Just we'll give you a slowdown there, but I think it's already slow enough to where it pretty much serve itself by the time you get back to the other side of the track here. So James Watson, someone who's a pretty good road course racer himself, trying to get around that 24 of Jimmy Hayden. And you always know where that car is on the racetrack. It's bright lime pink and green and all those bright colors. Not so bright cars here. 2 black cars racing at it for Higgins and Borges. So actually, if you zoom out far enough, these cars almost look identical with if you just look at the tops, because all the chase drivers have pink numbers, which is a sponsored decision, but is what we have here.
Yeah, looks like Gavin maybe with a little bit of pressure out of that section. I would expect as we get this run further and further in, we're about 19 laps in right now, the rear tires on these cars are probably going to be pretty beat up, and I think that's what we're seeing there out of Gavin Higgins. He got really squiggly into that right-hander. Not too much of that for him down the back straightaway, maybe a little bit for Ryan Borges if that gap extended on exit. So Gavin able to get the power down a little bit better than Borges. There we got a pass for 2nd. Cale Pocock finally gets around. He's 60 of an Abnett. Oh, and Abnett's off!
Big off there. Lose 2-3 spots and back to about 5th place for Abnett. We'll see, trying to get around Huckleberry and just kind of misjudge that a little bit there. Huckleberry, he held his line, did not really do anything too outrageous, I don't think. Just went around on Austin there, so gets it going again. He's going to be behind the 42 of Borges, and back to the 5th spot. There's Allen. Half spin there for Harry, and actually just kind of drives it through the grass and gets it back on. So arm no foul for him. Dave Carpenter has retired from the event, and Dustin Dewar, we lost him. He dropped his packets. I'm not sure where he put them, but he did drop his packets somewhere on the racetrack. Falling out of the race due to a connection. So he was in that fight around the back half of the top 10, top 15-ish, and he is not going to finish there. He's 5 laps down, presumably out of the race. It's battle between Higgins and battle between Borges and Higgins is still going at it, and for a moment there, Caleb Kumer's lead was 6-7 seconds. We have pit stops there. Austin and Abbott decides now is the time to put some fresh tires on that car, get the car fueled up, and to the end, presumably, hopefully that he can make it. I would assume it should not be an issue, but stranger things have happened here on the iRacing service. Higgins and Borges going at it. Higgins a little wide there, but this is a late apex part of the racetrack. This is kind of what you can do, so no problem with running that line. Borges definitely a little bit quicker than the 20 at this moment, but just cannot find the place to pass. Right here, Borges saw a little bit on the brakes harder, and it's looking like he might be side by side down the back stretch there, but not. He's actually right there on the right rear corner of the 20 of Higgins.
This is not the usual passing zone, but I think he's going to try to make it work. He's just going to put the pressure on him. I think this is kind of what I expected here. He might back off, try to get the run off the corner. See, Gavin's going to run it a little bit tighter there. Not too much to run off. Well, I don't know. He might have a shot. Going to have the draft, and it is a long front straightaway here, so we'll have to see. No, I don't think there's much going to come of that. You see, dude, Corey Abbott. That's who. My brain. Down pit run, Corey Abbott.
Others as well. I see Boutwell. I see Jimmy Hayden on pit road. 48 of Jacob Adams. He is in this battle right now. Decides to go right and out of the way. Lets these two by. Tony Higgins, he is all sorts of sideways there. That's not going to do anything good for those rear tires, but it looks like they might not be on the car too much longer as we are quickly approaching halfway in this race. About 3 more minutes until we get there. Another replay. Somebody with a off here. That is Dylan Javier. And it's like just a little bit too far to the left. And out in the grass, which is not really runoff, but out in the grass there in the last corner. And plenty of room to kind of get yourself back going if you need to again. There's not a wall for a few more feet past that point, and it would be really hard to actually hit that wall with any sort of force that would kill the car. Our very own Dave Huckleberry with an issue here. Looks like the same exact thing, and gets it on the racetrack right before. Well, actually, that's the way to kill the car if you're going to do it, and in that tire barrier, which, interestingly enough, it is one of the things that got updated today with the recent iRacing update. They are softer now, so too much damage for the 52, but I see a meatball for him, so he should at least be able to get going there. Sam Boutwell also tests the new tire barriers.
You know, it doesn't, I can say, I think it is a little bit softer. Like, normally we would kind of see the front bumper of this goes dangling, and right now I didn't see that much damage on Sam's nose, so I would have to say that it does in fact look like it is working the way they intended to. Good job, Myers.
Absolutely. There's something out there on the, maybe that's where Dustin dropped his packets over there in that last part of the track, running them over and getting all sorts of sideways here. But Borges on Higgins, he's got the run now. He's got the preferred groove as well. Ooh, Sam Boutwell's going to be at the worst possible spot. He's going to go ahead and get out of the way. Borges on the inside. Now he's on the outside through the switchback here, and not going to give it up easily. Get the drive off and keep that position for now. And Borges has to be getting all sorts of frustrated with that 20 car. He is quicker, just cannot find a way around it. And nothing, just want to reiterate here, nothing Gavin is doing wrong. He is doing exactly what he needs to do, running the lines that is making the 42 of Borges most annoyed and just holding his line on the racetrack. That is the completely right thing to do as a race car driver, to keep your position. And on a road course, it's the car behind that has to find a way around. So Gavin's doing a good job here defending his position.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of one of these things that these guys are probably looking at, especially in the second race of the chase for these guys that might have not had the start that they wanted. If they see a pink banner and a pink roof number, they are not going to just move over and let them go, especially if it's somebody that they're fighting in points like Ryan Borges and Gavin Higgins, two guys that I believe had at Las Vegas. Let's have to take a look. Actually, Gavin Higgins is down in 11th, Borges is in second. So, like, I think for Ryan, too, he's probably not going to do too much to risk the point game because he is in second. So we see, I believe this is Sam Malone again with a struggle. In turn 3, like earlier, just runs wide. Not too far off, but just enough to kind of make a mess.
Yeah, big news. I'm seeing that Jimmy Hayden was black flagged by race control. I think that might have been due to a pit road infringement for the 24 car. So that is going to hurt his race significantly. He's back there in 15th, one lap down. I don't think that takes into account his second pit stop yet, as the leaders have not top 10 or so. Just deciding to let that 24 go right now, and that's a strategy call because the new tires are obviously going to be quicker, but Borges has not hit yet. There's Humer still on the racetrack. That lead is almost 10 seconds over Cale Pocock right now, so it's about a zip code. Cale Pocock actually missed the grass runoff just a little bit off the last corner. So does Gavin Higgins. Are past halfway, so the fuel window obviously open for these drivers, tire window open. Basically, I would expect to see Caleb pit probably about as late as he can with that big lead he has.
Sam Malone again looking. Turn 1 this time, just rear got a little loose on him. It's going to swing around. Able to gather it up and keep going. No damage other than maybe some pride in some tire.
Yep, the learning continues tonight for Sam Malone, one of our rookies of the series, and what a way to learn. Worse for David Westergreen, I believe another pit road infringement, and he is getting black flag as well in the 9 car. Going to enjoy that one bit. He is already a lap down in 20th place, and it's not going to get any better with the penalty that he is about to receive.
While we have a second, do we know what they were black flag for?
More than 3 stalls exiting.
Okay, all right. I wasn't totally sure. Thank you, Carlos. That's what I was hoping for. I was a little. Oh, Sam again. Poor guy. Yeah. I'm starting to wonder if there is something in that corner, because these guys, every time that we see it, it's in that section. It's like they get into something. So maybe we have Dustin's packets need to be collected. I don't know, but something is over there making a ruckus. And again, I think it got Noah Brown. It did. There's no way.
Wow, crazy. Yep, a little bit of a little initial D there through the last corner. And Chris Hausler not on the same lap as Noah, so not losing spot there. Decides to immediately come down pit road, and he is done with that. He says, these tires are old and bad, and I want new ones, and right down. Interesting way to do that. Mitch Javier might have had a problem here, or he's just slow off the corner. Another lap for these ARCA drivers. So why don't we go ahead and take a short break here, pay some bills, and we will be back in just a moment.
This is Bobby Boland from Tom Boland Ford, and I have huge news for you. Right now, we are offering interest rates as low as 3.99 on most of our used cars. That's right, 3.99 happening right now. And it gets even better. These used vehicles come with the Boland Lifetime Powertrain Warranty, giving you protection for the long haul. This is your chance to save big with incredible rates and shop our wide variety of trucks, vans, SUVs, and cars. Only at Tom Boland Ford in Hannibal. Heck of a deal, ain't it?
Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand towards victory lane. So don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big.
Tickets are on sale now for the 5th Detroit, Illinois 300 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. September 11th through 13th brings a full weekend of action with the NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and St. Louis's biggest music festival, Confluence. The stars shine on and off the track, and your ticket gets you everything: cars, concerts, camping, food, and fun. Don't miss it. Get your tickets now and save big at WWTRaceway.com.
The Lucas Oil School of Racing. Simply stated, we are the professional ranks where the quality of the equipment often dictates the outcomes, and all of our cars are designed to perform and race as close as humanly possible. None of our competitors will have an advantage from engineering tactics. Rather, you will compete on a completely level field with a score of immensely talented up-and-coming drivers, all pushing each other to reach their new heights in their respective pursuit in becoming a professional race car driver. Every year, our top-performing graduates move on to the professional racing ladders of IndyCar, F1, and IMSA. Whether drivers compete in 1 or 2 seasons of our series, when they are ready to move on, they are ready to move. The training you receive in our school is an unmatched, unforgettable, first-class education combining the very best racing instruction and education.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here at the International Raceway. We got about 22 minutes left in this race. A couple drivers having some offs while we were gone. Austin and Abnett here. A small little off in the last corner. Avoids the tire barrier by just a few inches. Gets back going. No harm, no foul for him. He runs in the 5th position. Here's Jaden Racimus, who also received a penalty for a pit road infringement. He has gone off the track in the last corner. And rinse, repeat, kind of the same thing we've seen all night tonight. Same, some of the same drivers doing it over and over again. But not much up in front. And Caleb Cooper, his lead is up to 12.3 seconds over now new second place driver Gavin Higgins, followed by Caleb Pocock. Gavin around that 66 machine and get himself into the second position. There's Nigel Stock having a bit of an issue, but gets him back on the racetrack and earns a spot there. I don't believe any of our top 10 drivers have hit it just yet. Lap counts here. Certainly not.
Nigel Stock just the top 3, Caleb Kumer, Gavin Higgins, Cale Pocock. Those guys looking to get as far as possible. Caleb Kumer with a 12-ish second lead over the rest of the field to Gavin Higgins, and then Cale Pocock right there next to Gavin. Oh, contact between teammates maybe? Everybody in this frame is a teammate. Oh, a little.
Just a huge moment for Bryce Fody there, and you would have probably expected him to give a little bit more leeway to the race leader, but either way, everybody is all good. Samuel Malone, another small issue there, but gets it back going. He's having a struggle tonight with this road course race. Lily missed all the pit stops. My app did not tell me anything about pit stops there, so I had no clue who actually did what, but it's like, yeah, our top 3 there. Bryce Fody, another issue in the last corner. Those tires, I mean, once you get the tires dirty and once you get them hot, they don't really come back for a while. So you spin around and go off the racetrack. You do have to take a lap or so to get those tires kind of back clean and back, working optimally, or else you will just have no grip.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of it too is when you make a mistake, your first thought is to get as much of the time back as possible, and that, Boutwell locked it up in time, was not, did not do any other damage to anybody else, so he's clean in that regard. We'll have to come to a stop here and get that cleared. Other than that, not too bad, but yeah, maybe just trying to get as much as he could back. Still a little thrown off. The tires were definitely a little worn for him, but able to not let it be race ending. It definitely is a setback for Bryce, but he's still doing pretty good. So he's alive. That's what matters more than anything. When you're 20 minutes to go in a road course race, worry about the finishing positions a little bit later on. Just try to survive and keep it.
Absolutely here, and a couple of drivers going lap down. Greg Cody about to go one lap down to the race leader, and looking at the battle for second. There's Dave Huckberry having a bit of an excursion right in front of these drivers here, but Gavin Higgins early in that second position. He was able to get around Caleb Pocock, and we talked about him. Higgins is doing a great job here. He has the short track skill set, and that's not necessarily someone that we think of as a road course driver, but some of the skill sets that you can accrue over time, and just, you know, as he decides to come down pit road right then and there, hopefully he keeps the pit road clean and green and no infringements, no pit stall penalties for the 20 machine. That would absolutely wreck his race. But, you know, some of the things you do learn on a road course and some of the things you learn on short tracks can translate over to each other. Like hard braking, you know, hard braking is a short track thing, but it also could be a road course thing. Tight corners, road course thing, short track thing as well. So maybe Gavin using some of that experience he has to his betterment here tonight, and it's definitely showing off a little bit for him.
Nigel Stock back to the back bumper of Frank Fody and Caleb Hummer, trying to make his way back into the top 10. Looking a little bit further, not Caleb. Well, Caleb is the leader, not quite able to pass him. But he can't pass him, but it's not going to do anything position-wise. But he can get around Frank Fody and get back and touch up on the rebound of his mistake earlier, which ultimately doesn't look to be affected too bad. The front end was what made the most contact, and oh, Jimmy Hayden off. Caleb Pocock can sneak by. Jimmy able to minimize the damage there as time goes, but definitely not what he was.
Yeah, Jimmy just trying to save his race for what he can at this point. He got pit road penalty a little bit earlier and is now a lap down to the race leader. Just trying to salvage what he can. Was looking really good there. He started back in this 26th position and had driven his way up to the top 10 pretty handily, and now not looking like he's going to finish there unless he gets a few more spots of these cars that are one lap down. We have lapped all the way up to 9th position. Presumably an issue for David Westergreen. We'll see if anything happens to him. Out in the turn 3, runoff, and I'm sure he will be incredibly excited to get back on the plane to wherever we're at next week. I want to say that's Charlotte, but that's actually incorrect. It is North Wilkesboro, so should be a fun one next week. Sam Boutwell off in the last corner there. Back on. I think they've almost put some more runoff out there since these drivers keep trying to use it, but
Wet floor sign.
Sign. Kel Pocock in the pits. He comes down from the 2nd position right after Gavin Higgins did the last lap. And that will put Caleb Hummer as the only driver who has not made his pit stop. Just as we expected, he was going to run that out as far as he probably can, which probably will be here in a few moments, and that's probably going to eat his lead up a little bit. Ryan Borges will be a little bit closer than he was before on account of the undercut. Being that Ryan pitted way earlier and had the fresh tires to be able to effectively make that gap up. But Hummer is going to have the fresher tires for this last 15 or so minutes of the race and probably gain some of that back in some. So we'll see how that plays out here when Caleb decides to come down, which is right now. He's got such a lead where he really doesn't need to be taking any type of risks here. Just back the pit road speed down. Don't even try to play it too much, and definitely do not play with the pit stalls or anything like that, because we know race control has been watching those tonight. And he does have the first pit stall here, so looks like it was a clean entry for him, and he cannot physically hit another pit stall on the way out, so should be good for the 59 driver.
Just don't run over Peter, the pace truck driver. We don't want to see that.
They don't, and down and away he goes. Good pit stop. Aiden Racimas with a small issue here. So this is around coming back onto the backstretch. Just loops it around. A lot of half spins tonight. We have an instance somewhere. So Emma Malone turn 1 and loses it under braking. Decides to stop the car. Two incidents actually happening together. There's Frank Bodie having a spin, same corner as we saw just a minute ago, and gets it going, no problem.
Allowed Nigel Stott to get top 10 spot pretty swiftly there. I know he was maybe trying to put the pressure back on Nigel, but Nigel able to break away from the pressure there.
I think once we cycle around, the lead should be around, I guess, about 3 or 4 seconds back to, well, it's actually Ryan Borges now. It should be around 3 or 4 seconds. Looks like it's 5 on an interval there. Cale Pocock right behind Borges. I think Cale Pocock is probably going to get the spot pretty early if he can make that move on Borges, because he's so much later. Those tires are so much fresher on the 66 than they are on the 42. But we will definitely have to wait and see. Humer, through all that, he loses his entire lead down to 5 seconds. No harm, no foul. That's exactly what he wanted and knew was going to happen with that late pit call. And what he can do now is just focus on running his line, running his race, not worrying about those cars behind him because he has the fresher tires. He just needs to be clean, continue what he's doing there. The State Huckleberry stationary, just lounging for now.
Just a little wide there. Not
One of our trouble
too
points
bad.
tonight.
Yeah, which I think a lot of that too is like these guys don't really want to throttle up, so they're waiting. It looked like Dave might have just been a little tight there, but nothing too bad, no damage for him. See the lead, Caleb Humer has of Ryan Borges about 5 seconds at the moment. That'd be the undercut and what that does to a gap there. But while we're sitting here, why don't we take a little quick short break here, pay a couple more bills, and we'll be right back.
Right now at Tom Bolin Ford, we're offering X-Plan pricing for everyone. Yes, you heard me right, everyone. That means every customer can take advantage of special pricing normally reserved for employees of Ford partner companies. And all you have to do is walk through the door at Tom Bolin Ford. And it gets even better. Also receive a Bolin lifetime powertrain warranty, giving you long-term confidence for the miles ahead. Unbeatable pricing, lifetime protection, and a huge selection waiting for you right now. Only at Tom Bolin Ford in Hannibal. Heck of a deal, ain't it?
Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand towards victory lane. So don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big.
Tickets are on sale now for the 5th Detroit, Illinois 300 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. September 11th through 13th brings a full weekend of action with the NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and St. Louis's biggest music festival, Confluence. The stars shine on and off the track, and your ticket gets you everything: cars, concerts, camping, food, and fun. Don't miss it. Get your tickets now and save big at www.raceway.com.
The Lucas Oil School of Racing. Simply stated, we are the professional ranks where the quality of the equipment often dictates the outcomes, and all of our cars are designed to perform and race as close as humanly possible. None of our competitors will have an advantage from engineering tactics. Rather, you will compete on a completely level field with a score of immensely talented up-and-coming drivers, all pushing each other to reach their new heights in their respective pursuit in becoming a professional race car driver. Every year, our top-performing graduates move on to the professional racing ladders of IndyCar, F1, and IMSA. Whether drivers compete in 1 or 2 seasons of our series, when they are ready to move on, they are ready to move. The training you receive in our school is an unmatched, unforgettable, first-class education combining the very best racing instruction and education.
Back here at the Portland International Raceway, just under 10 minutes to go in the race, and a few incidences to... That was one too many syllables for that word. A few incidents to look at while we were gone. Jaden Racimus in the grass in the last corner as Caleb came to lap him, and it's an issue for him. Wester Green on Jacob Adams here and Andrew Hardcastle. Hardcastle's just gonna too much beans it and a little half spin into the grass, gets it back going again. No harm, no foul there as well. Sam Boutwell, who's had a rough go at the track tonight, he is currently 9 laps down and still running. He is off the racetrack there. That is turn 3 and 4. Lets a couple of these lead lap cars by. He just decides to keep it in the grass and let them all by before he gives it yet another go. And probably a more serious incident. Austin Abnett and James Smith have there in turn 1. And Abnett had some troubles getting it back going there in the grass. He joins the race back in the 6th position. I believe he lost 1 spot to Corey Abbott there. And an issue for Noah Brown here in turn 3. He loses under braking. There, snaps back to the left side and way out into the turn 1 outfield he goes, or turn 3 outfield, excuse me, and loses the spot to James Watson.
Oh, poor Sam.
Bad luck Brian up tonight. Sam, 10 laps down now. He is off again, and another driver that will be absolutely ecstatic to get on the plane and back to the East Coast. Next week's Wilkesboro event. And Caleb Humer, he's probably loving the heck out of everything he's seen tonight. He documented his struggles over the last 6 weeks or so, really since Nashville, when the last time he had a top 5 was, I believe, and has just had a rough go at it until this point. But, you know, really as a driver, and you excel on one type of track, if you can come back to that type of track and kind of put on it a butt kicking like he has here tonight. Like, put you in the right headspace again, right mindset, and do a lot of things for a championship. No matter how many points he was back behind, it was about 20-something coming into tonight, or 20-something over Corey Abbott. To come out and have a run like this, just for the mental side of things. Because it can definitely. When you have a rough go of a couple weeks, especially after being the points leader, it can definitely be a taxing thing there on physique there. And West Green, he spins it around there in turn 1. Bryce Bodie, Jacob Adams, and a couple others have around him. That's just a very poor spot to be, because you have to kind of wait and try to swing it back out around to the other side, to the right. He's just, some of the drivers tonight just have not had the runs they wanted. It's been like you said, Ty, earlier, it's just been a tough track. Probably some of these drivers, maybe their first time on it, and it's definitely havoc here.
Somebody who we've talked about a lot, but otherwise has had a quiet night. Ryan Borges, race control came over the radio earlier to talking with us, and he is the only guy with no incident points on this racetrack, unless that has changed recently. And he's running second right now. So Ryan Borges, he still has no incident points. He's kept that thing clean. The only other drivers that have had little to no incident points, Gavin Higgins with 2, Corey Abbott and Caleb Humer with 1. Some other guys with 3. But most of these guys struggling a little bit, but not Ryan Borges.
Yep, not at all. And that's kind of what we've seen from him, especially in this later part of the season. He's been very fast, very smooth and consistent. He got that win at the Rockingham Speedway to last race before the Chase, and that's a track that we kind of typically associate with high tire wear, high everything wear, and the smoother drivers typically tend to. I think last week at Vegas, I think he finished second place to Corey Abbott, so up there in the running. very end of the race and just lost out. But definitely, Borges he's gonna gain some points over Corey Abbott tonight, and we'll see what that does to the points standings going into next week. But we're under 5 minutes to go here at Portland, which should be like 3 laps, I believe. Might get 4, but I think it's gonna be 3. So it's 1 and 2 there. 1 and 6 for tonight. He's been also very smooth, very consistent. Can't understate how well he's done here. Haven't really shown him much because he's been about 10 years out ahead of the rest of the field, but he also had to drive the car up there and get up there and do it on pace. So just a great run. Kind of mimic what he did earlier in the season at Detroit. A very different style of racetrack, but also similar in a lot of ways. David Westergreen with a lock up there, and out the grass he goes once again. Here is Samuel Malone. An issue there in turn 1. Lots of runoff here for the, well, not really runoff, but lots of grass for some of these mistakes to happen without being too race penalizing here. Here's Dave Westergreen. This is a replay of what we saw just a minute ago as he was getting lapped. But if this was Detroit and we saw, some of these drivers doing what they did, or driving there like they did here, we'd see a lot more races ended at back of the tie.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I think Belle Isle a lot more forgiving. The wall's not too close here. The closest one being right here on the back straightaway as we see Austin and Abbott go wide into, wide for a minute, but able to get it back under him after he got a little uncomfortable. You see Sam Malone again, competing with Sam Boutwell for the unlucky Brian.
A battle for 8th place heating up. Dylan Havere has actually caught the back of the 65 of Noah Brown. Do something with him. Noah's had a bit of a rough go of it the last half of this race. Got himself back. He was up in the 6th or 5th position, I believe, and then had a issue there. 1 here. Pocock was able to get around Gavin Higgins, or I think he was already there, but Kel Pocock losing a lot of time, so Gavin Higgins is right on the back bumper of that 66 once again.
About a minute and 40-ish to go here, so this and one more lap for these guys.
Here comes Higgins. We're on a replay, but Higgins made the move into turn 1 on Kel Pocock. Kel with a move back to try to undo that. He slams into the back of the 20 and gets it going again. Jaden Racema's off racetrack in the last corner, decides to take the right and cut it through, but Gavin Higgins was able to get around Cale Pocock there, and I think Corey Abbott's now looking as well.
Corey Abbott winning last week at Vegas made him the points leader, and right now he's in the top 5, looking to get it a little bit more, possibly looking to talk to us tonight if he's able to get around these two. He's been quiet but consistent tonight, which is what we really need to see out of these guys if they want to be able to continue that fight for the championship. These three are going to put pressure on each other going to the last lap here, I believe, unless Caleb Kakumer is already across the line, and that would make it... nope, he's not quite, but he should be there shortly. Work through the last section of the racetrack here. Higgins able to not have too much pressure on him. Going to get him out of the corner. Corey Abbott lost a little bit of time, but Cale Pocock wheeling that thing, trying to get down the front straightaway.
I believe we're at 2 to go now, as about 40.
White flag.
Oh, white flag is waving. Okay, so there we go. Yep. Last lap here at Portland.
Higgins locked up.
Yep. Hobbling through the first chicane here, the festival curves, and Pocock trying to get some traction here. Cale Pocock is sideways. He is drifting through turns 2 and 3, or 3 and 4 here, excuse me. Somehow able to keep it under him, but that did not do anything good to the tires. We are on board here with Abbott. Gavin Higgins looking pretty good in this fight here. Final corner of the race. He is about 10 years up the road. A great drive for the driver of the 59 here, Caleb Cumer. He crosses the line to win his second road course race of the season. He sweeps him here in the ARCA Series. Ryan Borges, 6 seconds behind. He takes a great second place, and then the battle for third rages on, but the Gavin Higgins holding them all off right now. Dale Pocock and Corey Abbott cannot do anything with the driver of the 20 here, and then the rest of the top 10. There's Noah Brown having an issue right out of the last corner. He is going to finish 7th. There's James Watson to finish 6th. Dylan Javier, Austin nabbed it. Junior Seamus with a small half spin there out of the last corner. He's actually not on the lead lap, so his race will end right there. And then to end in the top 10, Nigel Stock, assuming he can get through these last few corners cleanly, is going to come home with a 10th place finish. Looks pretty good through the last corner. Something biblical would have to happen to end that for him. And sure enough, Nigel Stock will get what I believe is, I don't believe that's his first top 10 of the series, but a great earned top 10 for him. Bryce Fody and Jimmy Hayden across the line. Frank Fody, last car to finish here on the lead lap. That is 13 cars who have done so tonight.
Absolutely, and I mean, a lot of guys made mistakes. A lot of guys were able to rebound. See, Ryan Borges, I believe he did end the race with no incident points. Let me double check that. Oh, no, he had one. He got one. At some point, he got one. So
I think it's
nobody...
after race.
Is it?
Yes, he was 0 when he crossed the line.
Okay, well, then that, I believe, is a 0x race for Ryan Borges, so that's going to be good for him. We'll chat with him in just a little bit, as well as Gavin Higgins and the race winner, Caleb Cumer. As we see, does he get it right here? He sure does. Yep, there's his 1x. So he did go all of the hour-long time limit clean and green. You see Caleb Cumer doing his burnouts. And before we chat with Caleb Cumer, Ryan Borges, and Gavin Higgins, we're going to take a break.
Tickets are on sale now for the 5th Detroit, Illinois 300 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. September 11th through 13th brings a full weekend of action with the NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and St. Louis's biggest music festival, Confluence. The stars shine on and off the track, and your ticket gets you everything: cars, concerts, camping, food, and fun. Don't miss it. Get your tickets now and save big at WWTRaceway.com.
The Lucas Oil School of Racing. Simply stated, we are the professional ranks where the quality of the equipment often dictates the outcomes, and all of our cars are designed to perform and race as close as humanly possible. None of our competitors will have an advantage from engineering tactics. Rather, you will compete on a completely level field with a score of immensely talented up-and-coming drivers, all pushing each other to reach their new heights in their respective pursuit in becoming a professional race car driver. Every year, our top-performing graduates move on to the professional racing ladders of IndyCar, F1, and IMSA. Whether drivers compete in 1 or 2 seasons of our series, when they are ready to move on, they are ready to move. The training you receive in our school is an unmatched, unforgettable, first-class education combining the very best racing instruction and education.
Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand towards victory lane. So don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big.
This is Bobby Boland from Tom Boland Ford, and I have huge news for you. Right now, we are offering interest rates as low as 3.99 on most of our used cars. That's right, 3.99 happening right now. And it gets even better. These used vehicles come with the Boland Lifetime Powertrain Warranty, giving you protection for the long haul. This is your chance to save big with incredible rates and shop our wide variety of trucks, vans, SUVs, and cars. Only at Tom Boland Ford in Hannibal. Heck of a deal, ain't it?
All right, welcome back to Portland, Oregon. After an hour of racing, Caleb Cumer comes home with the win, his 3rd win of the year. Second on road course. He also won the first race of the series at Texas Motor Speedway. But before we talk to him, we'll go ahead and get your 2nd and 3rd place finishers. And I have Gavin Higgins. He's right here. Gavin, this is Cam in the booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
Well, good little run for you tonight. You started 4th, finished 3rd. Looked like it was pretty. I mean, besides Borges and then obviously besides Caleb, you looked like you were the fastest one out there. Tell us about your night.
I mean, I felt like it was pretty fun. I definitely wasn't that good on short run speed. I feel like I was one of the best on long run speed. I felt like that was definitely better than people that were near me. I mean, Caleb just whooped us, and Ryan was also pretty quick. He was behind me for a little bit, and then I think the lap car got in our way, and I was able to get by the lap car clean. He got stuck behind him. But other than that, it was fun. The move I had there late in the race with, I think it was Austin and Corey getting messed up by a lap car. Austin hit the inside wall, and I shot between both of them, and that was the only way I was getting P3 by getting by him that quick.
Again, you came into tonight 20 points behind the leader in the standings down there in 11th. You're going to gain some on pretty much everyone besides Becumer and Borges, who were both ahead of you. But with North Wilkesboro coming up next week, which I think that will be a really fun one. How are you? What's your mindset going into that one?
I'm gonna win. Gonna have to win. I mean, it's another short track, so that's what I'm really good at. So I'll be disappointed if I don't win. But I finally think we got the computer issues fixed. Last week I went 4 for 4 for dropping out, and right now we're 3 for 3 with not getting lagged out or whatever was happening. So finally happy with that.
Well, absolutely. Before we let you go tonight, any sponsors or shout-outs?
No sponsor. Shout out to you guys for doing this chat, for putting all this on. You guys in the booth, Carlos and Chris, and my mom, dad, brother, sister, my grandparents, and neighbor Pete.
All right, all right. Well, congrats on the 3rd place finish tonight, Gavin. A great race ran by you, and we probably will be talking to you next week. I know you're good at those short track type races. So,
yeah, hope. Thanks.
All right. I believe Ty has caught up with Ryan Borges.
Sure have. Ryan, it's Ty for the booth, buddy. You got a copy?
Yep, I got you.
All right, buddy. Well, you're stringing together some really good races here, man. We talked to you at Rockingham. You win there. You get 2nd at Vegas to start the chase, and a really clean race for you here. No incident points. You get a clean one. You go from 7th to 2nd, buddy. Walk us through your race.
Yeah, I went better than I was expecting. I kind of kick myself now for not putting in a little bit more practice because I feel like I kind of figured it out the whole second half of the race on pace. But no, just my objective was to get through turn 1 clean, and then from there, just like I said, run a clean race. Don't go off track, don't make any mistakes, and should get a decent finish. So that was kind of just the plan. Didn't have any sort of fancy pit strategy, just came in right around halfway and took my 4 tires and fuel and kept on chugging. But no, I was surprised. A lot of those guys kind of stayed out really long to the point where they weren't going to swing back on tires at the end. And I was surprised at how little fall off there was, for sure. I mean, I don't think I was more than a second of fall off throughout those runs. So tire management wasn't as huge of a deal as I thought it was going to be, but it was definitely still mattered. So it was definitely a fun race. It got a little strung out, but not too bad. I thought I kept Caleb at least honest there at the end. Kept him within visual distance for sure, but he ran a great race. So congrats to him.
Yeah, it looked like, I know you said that tire fall off wasn't too big of a thing there, but you were a lot more patient, I would say, at the start as far as kind of biding your time and letting everybody kind of settle out around you. Obviously, next week we go to North Wilkesboro. Do you feel like you can carry the momentum in there and maybe keep this string going, or is that going to be something that you feel like you might have to challenge yourself on? I know, obviously, Rockingham, a little bit of a different situation. You eke out the win there, but a little bit of a newer track surface for Wilkesboro.
Yeah, no, I think North Wilkesboro will be right in my wheelhouse for sure. Not looking forward to it. I think I'll run all right for sure. I'm pretty solid at the short tracks and tracks that are a little bit harder to drive. So definitely looking forward to the next race and hopefully building on another podium finish for sure.
All right, buddy. Well, I think that should, unless I am wrong, I think that will put you in the points lead heading into North Wilkesboro. So before we let you get out of here, anybody want to give thanks to, shout out?
Yeah, just got to thank Shift Esports and my sole teammate in the race, Jacob, for hanging in. I know road courses aren't his favorite, and I think he got spun out a couple times. So shout out to him for finishing the race and soldiering on. Got to thank Seth Rawls Designs for the paint, and you guys up in the booth for putting on a quality broadcast every week.
All right, buddy. Well, we will let you get out of here and celebrate, and we will see you next week at North Wilkesboro.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
That was Ryan Borges, your second place finisher in the Portland 60. And I believe Cameron Rich is going to be standing by with our race winner.
Yep, I got him right here. Caleb, this is Cam in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, it has been a tough few weeks for you. It's been a while since we talked to you, but what a way to get the championship situation reversed and back in the in the correct direction for you. Tell us about your night.
Usually, I'm going to be honest. I consider myself super humble, but it's hard not to feel good about this one. I felt really good all night. We put the practice in. I knew I had to have a really good night after what happened last week. And I kind of went on. I knew that managing the tires was going to be the biggest priority. So I did that. I drove about 90% the whole race, just kind of managing the tires. It ended up working out, and we went in, got some new tires, and drove it home.
Yep, and I mean, you didn't put a foot wrong there. I think you had one incident point on the night, so really nothing too bad to speak of. But that does leap you up into third in the standings, 9 behind Borges, and 7 behind Corey Abbott. What's your strategy going into next week in North Wilkesboro? That should be a barn burner of a race.
Well, I don't hate North Wilkesboro. I feel like I'll do pretty decent, but I mean, it's awesome to be third in points. You know, I'm happy for Corey. He's leading. But regardless of anything with to do with the championship, I know that this is my 5th win. So for me, it's kind of bittersweet. So 100% at this point, I won't be in the series next season, and it's really exciting. I mean, huge shout out to everybody that I've raced with in this series for the last couple of years. It really means a lot to race these guys and learn from them. I mean, I came in as a 2.5 iRacing rookie. So literally the first time I ever raced on an oval was in this series. So it goes to show that racing these guys hard every week and coming back and putting the time in and making it work it really goes to show how much you can learn. As far as North Wilkesboro, I hope I do good. I mean, of course, at the end of the day, I always care about winning the championship, but like I said, it's gonna be a bittersweet one.
Yeah, absolutely. And so a lot on your plate going into next week's race at North Wilkesboro. Like you said, you have to basically have to make it happen this season, or it will not be an ARCA championship for you. But
Yep.
I'm sure there'll be many other wins in other series as we get closer to that. Before we let you go, any sponsors or shout outs?
Yeah, man. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to all the Lake Norman guys. Shout out to Bite Size Sports for sponsoring the car. Shout out to JD Designs, Jonathan Cutlip, making this awesome pig scheme at the road course. And shout out to literally everybody in the series that I've raced for the past 2 years. It means a lot to be learning from these guys. And now I'm going to have to actually put a lot of effort into maybe eventually one day fighting for a win in one of those premier series. So, yeah, just thank you.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate you talking to us tonight. Congrats on the win. Hell of a drive. I mean, a clinic in many regards. Didn't put a foot wrong, and what a way to do it.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night, guys.
All right, that was Caleb Kumer, who will be doing his last 3 races in this ARCA series, starting with North Wilkesboro, Charlotte, and Homestead. As he said, he will not be back in the series next season, as he has hit the win limit. But Ty, that was a pretty. I got strung out there a little bit there, but definitely a good race for some standards, and we saw a lot of people go off, a lot of small incidents, but nothing too terrible, I don't think. So the fact that we can get through an ARCA race at a road course without too much drama or hubbub is always a good win in my book.
Absolutely, and I mean, you look at the point standings and the way that's going to shake up. Corey finishing 5th, is it going to make him fall too much in the standings? I think he might slip to maybe 3rd at the most, but it's going to have Ryan Borges to lead. So these guys are really tight up at the points in the top 5 there. So it's going to be exciting. I think Noah Brown had a good run, so he's going to jump up from about 14th to up inside the top 10 pretty swiftly. And I mean, look at guys like David Westergreen and Jacob Adams, who had some pretty rough nights. It's definitely going to hurt them, so they're going to fall a little bit. But that's just kind of how it goes. You know, you go to these road course races, you know that if it's a strength, it's going to play to your factor, and if it's kind of not something, then you're going to just try to keep the car on the track. And unfortunately, a couple of those guys had some struggles with that tonight, so they're going to have to pick it back up again at North Wilkesboro.
Yep, and if you liked what you saw tonight, you probably won't like what you see next week in 7 days' time. It's North Wilkesboro. It's short track racing here in Elite with these ARCA cars. It's going to be a barn burner, I think. Always look forward to the short tracks, especially here in ARCA. And then we end the season with 2 1.5 mile tracks, Charlotte and Homestead, Miami. So quickly getting to the end of the season here, quickly seeing who the championship contenders are. I think probably realistically, we can probably say that we have about 5 or 6 left in logical contention there, unless something biblical happens. But definitely next week could be that race with if the carnage goes the wrong way for someone. But I believe that's all we have for you guys tonight. From myself, from Mc Intosh, from Chris Wright, from Carlos. You guys have a good one.